I'm Manveen Rana, Innovations Editor here at Hub Culture at Davos 2024, and I'm delighted to be joined by Jake Loosararian from Gecko Robotics. Thanks very much for coming.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thanks.
You had a busy Davos so far?
Yeah, I've gotten 5 minutes where I've gotten to take a drink and a little bit of food to eat.
So grateful for it. Well, Jake, tell us a bit about the Gecko Robotics story. How did you come to set up this company?
Oh, it's a really amazing story of back in college. I was doing electrical engineering, and basically I had this incredible opportunity to go to a power plant, and I was fascinated with power, but I didn't really know how it was made. So I went to this power plant and found out that 40% of the year this power plant had forced outages that were bad for both the environment as well as bad for being able to provide energy to the local citizens. So the only way to stop it was sending a human into a dangerous environment and collecting information and data by hand. But unfortunately, that person fell and died the year before I got to that power plant.
Oh, God.
So the only way to build structures from failing is sending humans into very dangerous environments. And so I built a robot in college that could climb walls and solve this problem so that that human didn't have to go in to prevent a forced outage at the power plant.
That's
and it
amazing.
saved that power plant from shutting down, as well as obviously providing a new way of thinking about solving problems in the built world by collecting data that never existed before.
That is amazing. And you sort of think, God, that sounds Dickensian to have humans going up and measuring every bit of a power plant to work out what might go wrong. So in a way, your invention is that perfect spot of hitting something where you're like, how did this not exist before?
Yeah.
And it's really taken off since then, obviously.
It has. Yeah, well, when I started it in 2013, I bootstrapped it, so 3 years of pouring life savings into it. And so I was down to a couple $100s in my bank account and didn't have a house to live in or anything.
Wow.
And so it really tested the resolve. But, back at that power plant, I looked into how much do we spend on solving for this problem. And we spend $3.5 trillion every single year on trying to make sure that corrosion doesn't take down the infrastructure that we rely on, whether it's a power plant or a ship or a dam or a bridge that we cross over. And so it just blew my mind, and it seemed like a mission that was worth giving up everything I had for.
That's phenomenal. I mean, if anyone deserved success, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
And while you're here at Davos, tell me a bit about sort of some of the conversations you're having around this, because there is an absolute fascination this year for AI and robotics and sort of how technology can change our future.
Well, we have a very contrarian view on how to build artificial intelligence. And from the beginning, 10 years ago at that power plant, it was all about collecting data sets that never existed before or were fundamentally flawed. And in order to build new systems or digitization tools to try and figure out and solve some of the hardest problems in the world, like transitioning or justly transitioning from one kind of energy source to the next, or ensuring that the infrastructure that we rely on every single day is going to be there for us, we needed to collect first-order data sets. These pieces of information that only our robots that were climbing all over built structures could actually collect. And once we created these fundamental data layers, then building artificial intelligence tools on top of that data provided a strong foundation where artificial intelligence wasn't just a buzzword, but you could actually trace it back to physics and to science. And so, one of the things that we talk about a lot is you must build responsibly and with high integrity artificial intelligence so that the outcomes that we're going to be relying on and using to drive industries is reliable. And unfortunately, we don't talk about it enough. So I'll be talking at panels today, and I talked at some panels already about the importance of high-fidelity data sets and interrogating the data that artificial intelligence is built upon. It's the most important topic that isn't getting enough attention.
Yeah. What do you think it would need to try and fix that? Is this going to be government policy that sort of comes up with an infrastructure within which AI works better, works more responsibly?
Yeah, I think...
what are the solutions?
The solutions, the solutions that we're taking is essentially let's rid out our bias and replace it instead with ground truth data sets. And if you can't do that, or if you can do that, or maybe if you're not a company that is creating and finding those first order data sets, then you must cite where that data sets are coming from. And this is where policy is really important. If you type in into ChatGPT to diagnose some medical problem, they might suggest something that works or doesn't. And if they suggest something that doesn't work, they'll say, oops, sorry about that.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that isn't the way we can approach whether it's medicine or critical infrastructure, because the costs and the results of getting it wrong are way too high. And so for us, we've been able to partner with environmental scientists to try to verify the impact of approaching the problems, solving it this way. And if you can stop physical structures from failing, the studies are finding that we just released 18% reduction in global emissions by 2030 is the impact that solutions like Gecko is able to solve for. So these are meaningful, real results, but you must interrogate the data.
Well, Jake, thanks very much for joining us here and for talking us through one of the most important conversations happening at Davos 2024. It's been a pleasure having you.
Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you.